I mean, we are already seeing that there's a diminishing returns as far as graphics are working. So
Well,
why bother trying to ask for higher graphics?
if you want to spend the money, knock yourself out. Here's the thing: there are certain games that you really need to push things to the limit. Like if you're, even on console. Like okay, if Nintendo came out, we're making on their next console. They say, hey, we're releasing a 3D Mario game, and graphically speaking, it looks about on par with Mario Odyssey. You would be like, what the fuck is this? Because you're supposed to be knocking my socks off with this game. Um, or if they said, hey, we're releasing the next Legend of Zelda game, and graphically it looked like they used the same engine um, as they did with Breath of the Wild, you would be like, well, like this is one of your bellwether games. It's supposed to be like, it's because you just don't expect that with benchmark games. Like people would have been offended had the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past come out and it looked just like the Legend of Zelda on the NES.
You you're missing the point there.
You know, or hey, we're releasing a new Mario game on the N64. By the way, it looks just like Super Mario World.
Missing the point.
No, I'm not
Yes,
missing the
you
point.
beeping
There,
are.
there's some, there's some, there's
With that
some,
kind of lines you said, you are missing the point.
there's some games that need where you need to push things to the limit. And then there are other games where it doesn't matter. Like where like if you're playing Tetris, no one needs a 1080p, a 4K, 2K Tetris game. You can do it, but it's unnecessary. Um, it's no one needs a 4K RPG. Um, you just don't. Whether it be a Western RPG or a JRPG. Um, there's certain things. There's certain games where you need to push things to the limit, and then there are other games where it's like, no, you don't. You just need what works. You don't need to have it be balls to the wall. We made this game. Look at this guy jump out of this window and smash his face into a brick wall. Like you don't need sports games where you can see the sweat coming out of people's faces. There's certain things. There's certain games where you need to push things to. You know what I mean?
True, but I was saying that if it if it functions, then if anything, the graphics should not be so important that oh that's realistic. As in, we already got the
Well,
uncanny valley with for
well,
certain
no.
things.
Functionality. You're right. Functionality needs to be first and foremost. But there are certain games that come to a console where you need to like push. Like it can't be just we got it
And
running and
people
that's
wonder
good
why we
enough.
are graphic whores with how you talk.
Well, I'm not a graphic whore. It's just there's certain games where you need to graphically make it look like you need to show that you're pushing the console to its limits. Like you can't do this is good enough for certain games.
if it the if the function doesn't feel improved, then why say that graphics are superior to the function?
Well, I'm not just talking about graphics. I'm talking about all aspects. I'm talking about enemy AI, world space, world building, details in the world, environmental interaction. You need to push it to the limit. You can't just, like, the whole point of technology is that it moves forward. You don't want shit going backwards.
The last thing that should be moving forward is graphics. Period. I
I
mean,
agree.
Graphics, yeah. I mean,
we've. I mean, seriously,
yeah.
the AI could be improved
That's true.
and give us harder and
AI,
give us better
world,
features to work with.
environmental interaction, better, more detailed environments. Like,
Yes.
I was talking with a friend of mine because we're working on creating a game I'm doing the storyline and he's doing the programming. Like a little, and basically, I mean, it's just like four of us working on this game, and we already decided, look, instead of this bullshit that you see in Bethesda and all these other developers with like, we're gonna create this huge world, blah blah blah. Just it's much easier just to do like a one place, but make it layered. You know, like have a city, have the city broken up into different areas, like an uptown, a downtown, a business district. Um,
I could make the joke that you're thinking of Yakuza.
Uh, Not really. Although Yakuza does that very well, but I mean, basically, it's much easier to have one city and have it layered and have details within those layers than to try and build this huge open world. Because ultimately, you wind up having what happened with Breath of the Wild. You wind up having what happened with Fallout 76 and GTA 5 and Red Dead 2, where basically you have this massive open world that feels empty and like you make traversing that world feel like a fucking chore sometimes. Now Breath of the Wild gets away with that because basically you have the hang glider, which you know the hang glider makes it's like I could ride a horse and potentially get knocked off my horse and have my horse die, or I can start a fire, ride a thermal with my hang glider, and just glide on over there. You know, it's like the hang glider breaks the entire game. It's like the cape feather in Super Mario World. Really, it's like what?
Just be sure that you have plenty of stamina snacks on you.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have salmon in shrooms and you've cooked them into dishes, it's like, what's? I mean, really, you just get away with everything. It's, I mean, really, the hang glider breaks that game so much. It breaks that game. But before we go any further, we kind of went off on a tangent, but it's always good to sometimes have discussions. So, with that being said, let's have everyone introduce themselves. Ladies first, then the gentleman, then myself. Ladies first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome to BS Plus Midweek Podcast. I am Jory Moonstar, and we are about to get into some interesting stuff tonight.
Kanoshi.
Slasher Bombnito, here to glad to be on BS Busters, and somebody's been a bad dog this week.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, been fucking up this week. But I guess we can start with the first one. This is a story
I
posted
cannot
by
wait to rip into
Kanoshi.
this.
So basically, a disgruntled Naughty Dog dev apparently has leaked major spoilers for The Last of Us 2 due to them feeling that they're not being paid for the work for the amount of work they put into the game.
Hopefully, the people at Naughty Dog do not have ninjas as good as the Nintendo ninjas.
Nintenjas, yeah. So who wants to dive into this first?
So, I think there are two wrongs here. There is Naughty Dog was wrong for treating their employees did, and they've earned reaped what they sown. But I think it's also wrong for the disgruntled employee to send out various information about the game, because honestly, that's probably going to end up hurting them, making them look bad, and it's going to probably make it harder for them to get work.
Good points you raised there. Jewel?
Oh boy. First, this is what happens when you screw over your workers. They will say something, and if they're high enough, they will spill plenty of stuff onto the field. That being said, Naughty Dog. Guys, I know you guys are not trying to even give Nintendo a second thought, but here's the thing that I'm gonna have to talk to you about. Are you really gonna go through with a story so WTF that it's gonna alienate fans that were the first Last of Us, which is already a cult classic with those people that like to suck Sony? I'm just wondering, what is going on in your head?
You left something out. They like to suck Sony and swallow.
I didn't go that far, because if anything is enough that Sony sucks.
Well, I'll go that far. um, are you done? Have you said anything you want to say,
I'm
Jewel?
I was asking what are they what is going on in their heads with The Last of Us 2. So go on if you like to ask what you think about them.
Okay, tag me in, tag me in. Okay, so basically, here's what I think. I agree with both of you. Um, I think that but it's more than two wrongs. First of all, it's wrong. Um, you know, it's wrong for basically Naughty Dog to grind employees into the dust in order to get these games to get made. Um, it's not good. I mean, I've said this before. You know, the like
The crunch.
musicians, actors, voice actors, they all have unions. Video game industry is the only industry where they do not is the only industry where these people are routinely mistreated and they don't have a union. Right, this is an industry where you have the same shit that the music industry does, where you have people who've created iconic songs. These songs are associated with them, and yet when they leave the record label, they don't own their songs. The record label owns their songs. There are people who've made some of the most iconic games of all time. They don't own those games. The publisher owns those games. Um, and when the games sell gangbusters, these people aren't making bank like that. You know, and I mean, here's the thing: like, as the publisher, yeah, they're putting the money forward to have these games to be made and all that shit. But I mean, you could at least make sure these people are not being ground into dust, so you can keep your talent for years and years and years. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I heard Nintendo. Nintendo. I mean, I don't want to use Nintendo as an example because Nintendo is a Japanese company, and like business practices that are normal for Japan, I would
Are
not.
not no elsewhere.
Yeah, they're not normal elsewhere. Like people spending 18 hours working and literally, you know, like I have a friend. I'm not gonna name any names, but I have a friend who works in Japan, lives in Japan, works in Japan, and when he got into his job, he was working 16, 17-hour days at this place, and he literally would like sleep under his desk. That's not
Which
normal.
I was gonna say that's a little frightening.
Yeah, and he's not in the video game industry, but a lot of that stuff has crossover. Um, and that's not normal. Like business, like you shouldn't have to work 16, 17, 18 hours a day, 6 days a week, because Japan has a 6 day work week, not a 5 day work week. Um, like that's not normal. Um, it's not normal for people to just be crunched and to work. Like here's the thing, okay? If you work 8 hours a day, okay, or even if you work 10 hours a day and you're making something, that should be long enough to get what you need to get done. Okay,
Yeah.
like there's no like I mean, like, and here's the thing: if you don't have enough people to have a reasonable work day for people so that they can get their shit done, hire more people. Because here's the thing, okay? Like, it's self defeating, right? These publishers hire developers, they grind them into the ground in order to get a game out. They work them insanely hard and burn their asses out after a year, 6 months to a year, right? Then these people are burnt out and they leave. So basically, people if you had given them a normal workload and they could have been trained up to become more skilled. So then you get more productivity out of them, or they become more efficient with their productivity. So then you like the amount of time you have to spend paying them to work goes down because they get more efficient at what they do. They're burnt out, they leave. So basically, like, you're seeing talented people leave because think about it, like any business, the most talented people have left Naughty Dog. They went and did other things. The people who are left behind are the people who are getting paid a certain amount to stay, and the people who weren't talented enough to leave. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that if you pay your workers correctly and treat them right, you don't get this BS.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen this with Naughty Dog. Okay, we've seen how, like, okay, when they first started, they were doing Crash Bandicoot. Now, I will be the first person to tell you, I don't think Crash Bandicoot is a good game. I've never
Their
been.
best was 3, and that's barely at the scale of Mario in a
I
sense.
wouldn't even go that far. I would say like there's this thing of in '96 of Shigeru Miyamoto playing Crash Bandicoot at one of the early E3s. And I know he was just like, I got nothing to worry about with this shit. You know, like literally. Because
As I said, 3 was probably their best, and that didn't measure up to the Mario.
like I said, Mario 64 comes out, changes the game for 3D platformers. So much so that Naughty Dog didn't even try to compete against Mario 64 and the 3D platformers that came out on the N64. So then they do their second series, which is Jak and Daxter. Now, personally, I think Jak and Daxter is a good series. I think the first game is kind of rough, but Jak and Daxter 2 and 3 are really good.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie, that's something to talk about, even though they pushed one of the characters to the background.
Yeah, I mean, those games, in my opinion, were the perfect balance of Naughty Dog at their best. Because the Jak and Daxter games did have a story. It was partially humorous. It got a little dark at times, but there was some humor there. It was like for me, Jak and Daxter is the prototype for Nathan Drake and the Uncharted series. Okay, except like Uncharted went too much into narrative storytelling, and not enough gameplay, in my opinion. But that's my opinion. But then they lost a lot of the people that made that game when they jumped to Uncharted, and a lot of the people who made Uncharted jumped at the end of that series, and then when they did Last of Us. So basically, they keep on losing game developers, and they keep on picking up people who do animation. Now, I have nothing against computer animation, but these people tell stories. They don't make games. And you can see that because look at The Last of Us. That game is not, the gameplay is trash. A lot of people, I love the story. Well, how's the gameplay? I've played The Last of Us. The gameplay is shit. Okay? The gameplay is.
I was about to say, I thought you were going kind on that game with how you worded it.
No, the gameplay is really bad. The gameplay is stuff like okay, you're hiding away from mushroom zombies. Joel, you're being quiet as hell. Ellie's knocking over bottles. She's talking. They're ignoring her ass and coming after you. But don't let Joel just sneezes. They come after you. 5 of these motherfuckers rushing you. I mean, the game design is trash. But you're not playing the game for the game design. You're playing the game for the gameplay. You're playing the game because you want to hear this story, which is, I mean, here's the thing. Everyone's like, the story's so deep. It's a fucking zombie story. That's all it is. Like, if you've watched any of the zombie movies of the last few years, especially in the 90s, okay, this grizzled guy who lost his family in the zombie apocalypse is going along with this young girl whose blood might hold the cure to the zombie infection. But in order for the cure to come out, the scientists are gonna have to kill her in order to get the cure. So he kills the scientist and gets her out of there. So fuck humanity, we gotta save this one girl. That story is like, there's literally like 5 zombie movies from the 90s that have that same fucking story. So don't act like Last of Us is this phenomenally deep story. It isn't, okay?
In fact, it's one of the more stupid stories that I've
Well,
heard of a zombie movie.
I mean, I won't say it's stupid. It's just, I mean, it's been done before. It's like Nathan Drake. Everyone's like, well, the Uncharted series has a great story. Yeah, it was great when Indiana Jones did it years ago, and I mean, in movie form, Indiana Jones did it. In video game form, Lara Croft did it. So, I mean, there's nothing original about this game except it's Nathan Drake, and he's not nearly as attractive as Lara Croft is. But then again, I'm a heterosexual.
My thing is, is it should crunch exist? If not, how can the industry avoid it?
I
If
think the
so,
industry
how should
can
they handle
avoid
it?
it. I think the industry can avoid crunch. Hire enough people to make your goddamn game, or or, and this is just me. This is just my personal opinion. Why don't why don't they do this? I know this is gonna sound really wild. Okay, hear me out.
Yeah.
Why don't you extend your development cycles?
Yeah.
Why don't you do what Bethesda does? I mean, I know people don't like that, but Bethesda and Nintendo has small
No, and
teams.
Rockstar as well, because they.
Yeah, but Rockstar has a history of crunch too, so I'm not gonna use that.
Uh,
They're kind of bad about that shit. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's like here's the thing. If you like, okay, you don't have to have a game out every 3 or 4 years. You just spread the shit out, or
Yeah.
or either spread the shit out, either have longer development cycles, or have people who know how to keep people on task and have realistic goals on what you want to do. Because if you look at the games that have the most of the creep, like Mass Effect Andromeda and insane crunch times, it's because they had shitty management. Like it's not cool for a game to be in development for 5 years, but it only comes together in the last year. That's some bullshit.
yeah.
You should have a if when you're coming out with a game. I'm not saying that you need to be 100%. This is where we're going. This is where we're starting. This is where we're going. Because things will change, but you need to have a general idea of what your mission statement is for the game you're trying to make at the start of when you start making it.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, they want to punish the employees for bad management because look, if you are doing like okay, I've worked in private industry. Okay, I've worked in nonprofits where you've had to do massive projects where you had to have that had 300, 400, 500 moving parts and everything had to go together or nothing went off. Okay. And at the end of these projects, there's a big mission, like you have a debriefing where you talk about what went wrong, what went right, what you could have done better, what you did pretty well, what you failed on. Right? No one ever, because all these games come out and you keep on getting the same shit. Well, we had to crunch that last year. Those last 18 months, we had to crunch. Look, you're burning out your employees, which is why you're getting games that have major problems because people can't work like that. Okay, these people are video game developers. These people are suffering from PTSD like someone who's in the bomb squad in the military. That ain't right. It's not
Yeah.
acceptable.
Exactly.
Okay? Like it I mean, it's the culture of crunch needs to end. Um either 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 by the management saying, "Look, we need to stop crushing these people to death." Or, and I'm just saying, video game developers need to unionize. And if that means that games get more expensive to buy, or it takes longer for games to come out, everyone has a backlog of games. Okay, all of us
Yes.
have
I mean,
fucking
if
backlogs
anything,
of games.
I'd love to have a longer development time if it means that the game quality is better
Yeah,
and that the companies that are working behind it are not getting turned into gasoline.
it's true. I'll be honest with you. I would rather, like, okay, right now games are on a 5 year cycle. If I have to wait, it's like 6 years for like the major AAA games to come out, I'd be okay with that. Because I mean, we're
Yeah.
already getting tons of remasters to fill the gap, and like smaller indie games and like AA games and single A games. Like, not everything has to be AAA. But whatever. Uh, any final thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah. One of the things they said is we we think everybody should be their own producer. I'm just like, that's a terrible idea because you know, you look at a lot of these Kickstarters, we're gonna go off and do our own thing. And
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of these developers aren't very good managers. You need
Well,
somebody to manage the project.
I mean, I won't say that. It's just here's the thing. When you're doing a major project, you need someone who has leadership. You need someone who's going to stand and say, "Okay, look, I've heard everyone's opinions. They're good opinions, but we need to get this project out in this amount of time, and this is what we can do." So, you know, take those opinions, write them down. We'll table them for our next project, but we got to get this shit done in 36 months. So here's what we're gonna do. You know, like that's the type of leadership you need, and we aren't getting it. Like, I mean, you look at the games that you've heard had terrible crunch. Anthem, Mass Effect Andromeda, the shit that came out from Naughty Dog. All this crunch shit at Capcom's games. All this crunch comes from bad management. Bad management. Someone not willing to stand in there and say, "This is what we got to do. This is how we're going to do it. Let's get it done."
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, listen, look. I know everyone who is in a managerial position wants to be the nice manager. Come on, guys, let's do it. And look, if you can, like, here's the thing. You can be that manager once the people underneath you have shown that they can handle the responsibility of not being micromanaged. Once they know their job and you don't have to, because really that's the best managerial position. When the people underneath you know their job and you don't have to micromanage them and you give them what they need to do. They do the shit, turn it in, and then you can put it all together. That's the best management ever. But apparently that doesn't work in these places. Because they keep on burning these people out in the last 20-30% of the development of these games. And so the talented people are leaving. They're like, "I don't need this shit." And it's like a vicious cycle because, okay, like if you're managing people, typically speaking, you're going to have to micromanage people who are new to the job because they just don't know. They don't have the experience. Whereas the experienced people, you don't have to micromanage them because they know what they need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. They run off the experienced people. They go someplace else, or they just get vehemently pissed off, like the dude who leaked. Actually, I don't know if it was a guy. The male or female developer who leaked the Last of Us stuff. The sad thing is that they wanted to hurt Naughty Dog, and maybe they did, but they also hurt the people who were still working there, just trying to do their job. Fucked up their shit too. So, I mean, it's like there were better ways to do this.
Yeah, and that's before considering the other stuff that's going on. Like, what is the story that's being leaked?
Yeah, Sony is apparently going to come after them. Is probably going to sue them. Naughty Dog's going to sue them. And even if, I mean, basically, once their identity comes out, they're probably not going to be able to work again at any reputable developer. So, I mean, they basically burnt down their career because they were pissed. And look, I understand being mad, but I mean, goddamn, you know.
There's probably a better way to do.
Yeah, there's a better way to do it. That's the thing.
I was about to say that's one way to give the middle finger to somebody.
Yeah, but they gave a middle finger to somebody and then turned around and gave it to themselves. They pulled an Xbox One. They pulled a Don Matrick. They pulled a Don Matrick with this shit. It's like, I'm gonna kick my own ass. Why? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
But I think we spent enough on this. Let's keep it moving. We have a lot of news stories tonight. So basically, 2K19 and 2K20 were shit. So
no beep about that.
So 2K21 isn't coming out this year. Instead, we're getting one of the ugliest fucking wrestling games I've ever seen before in my life.
Wait, I thought they stopped releasing yearly games for a bit.
2K? Not for the wrestling series, no. Yeah, WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Now, I saw the teaser trailer for this, and
Ugh.
I mean, this looks like some shit that would have been on the Wii. This looks like a
Yeah, I was
PS2
gonna
game.
say. As I said, ugh.
Now, it could be fun. It could be fun, but it looks like shit to me. I don't know.
Hopefully, it will not have the insane amount of glitches that another wrestling game has. Oh God, that'll be a nightmare.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying it looks pretty bad. I mean, like here's the thing. I don't want like here's the thing. There are people like I'm glad they're making a more arcadey WWE wrestling game because for me, when I did play wrestling games, I prefer more arcadey games. Like I'm not into Sims unless it's Fire Pro Wrestling, which is like an ultimate sim, really. Um,
Yeah, I can at least understand where you're coming from. I mean, I miss the arcade like games of the sports world.
yeah, so this is more like a brawler slash like this is more Saturday Night Slam Masters than like more WWF versus NWO shit like that. So yeah, this is more brawler than a sim. Uh, and I mean it's like here's the thing. This would be awesome if this game was coming out because they legitimately just wanted to give this experience to gamers. But this game is coming out because the last two iterations that were made by 2K proper were shit because they wouldn't pay the development studio that was making the shit from WWE 2K18 back. They wouldn't pay them their money. So, I mean, this is what you get.
Wait, so we're getting this game because somebody was short on pocket change.
Well, yeah, the studio that used to make the WWE 2K games when they were quote unquote good, because I never thought they were good, but when they were functional was Ukes. Ukes basically, their contract was up and 2K didn't extend it. They were like, no, we can do it ourselves. Well, they can't. They couldn't. They couldn't do it themselves.
I was about to say, it shows what they could do by themselves.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't kick their own ass by themselves. They pulled a Don Matrick. So with them basically shooting themselves in the crotch with these two wrestling games, like 2K19 was bad, 2K20 was worse. So at this point, they're just like, we're not gonna do 2K21. We're gonna make this, and this trailer looks. I mean, to quote GameSack, this trailer looks like ass. It looks bad. It looks really bad. Oh god, this looks bad. I mean, the women look like roided out freaks of nature.
I would call it fugly from the sewers.
Yeah, and the male characters they already look roided out bastards. This just looks bad. If they had maybe done like All Stars like they did back in the day, where they had like all the classic wrestlers like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Sergeant Slaughter, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, Jesse the Body Ventura, Andre the motherfucking Giant. I just added the motherfucking Giant because it sounds badass. If they'd had like old school wrestlers, Jake the Snake, Razor Ramon, like if they'd had old school people, I'd been like, man, this is cool, Vader. But this is just like this is just sad.
I was about to say, Soy Boy said.
This looks like some shit they just threw together.
Oof.
Yeah, that's my problem. It looks like something they just threw together. And I think the WWE fans who like to play wrestling games deserve better. I mean, I don't like the 2K wrestling games, but there are people who do, and they deserve better than some thrown together shit because they've been messing up. So, that's just this guy's opinion. Next, some Valve news.
Oh, great! More valves.
Yeah. So basically, here's the news from Valve. A new update reveals more changes coming to Valve's computerized card game Reboot. So here.
Sorry,
So here's what they're adding. So basically, here's what we got. Okay, let me take a breath. Okay, so basically, the most common complaints that the heroes Valve said were underwhelming signature cards, a lack of hero abilities, and character fiction that doesn't fit well with their in-game loadouts. To help them make them more interesting, it's adapted a different approach that focuses on a number of factors. All heroes should at least have one ability. You should be excited to draw a hero's signature card. Signature cards should avoid being situational. Signature cards should generally be at their best when their corresponding hero uses them. Bonus if a hero has a small self synergy. It's fine to have two abilities on a hero if at least one of them is passive. It's fine to have a strong active and passive abilities on the board. They create interesting threats to play around. Under this new design approach, Keith the Bold is now a massive tank whose active ability, Stop Hitting Yourself, fits his look, while Farvan the Dreamer gets bonuses for each allied unit in his lane. Some of the unit descriptions are obviously more meaningful to experienced players than casual onlookers. Placing Prowler Vanguard in slot 2 with Farvan in slot 3 is an easy way to build pressure in a lane, for example, but it's clear that Valve is making a more front and center approach with its updated artifact heroes. Now I don't know what that means because I haven't played. I haven't played artifact heroes because I don't like playing computer card games unless it's Yu-Gi-Oh.
I could name it in short. They're trying to give everybody an ability, a signature card, and they're trying to make it seem like they are lowering the randomness, but in a sense they're likely adding more to it. As in the odd kind of randomness that some of you competitive card players seem to hate with a passion.
I mean, I'm not knocking it. I mean, like, here's the thing. You know, whether you like Valve or not, you can't get mad at them for trying. You know what I mean?
I'm basically laughing my rear end off with their attempt of a card game. Not their effort, but how they pulled this off.
I'm just glad that they're trying. Okay, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just glad that they're trying. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that with how they tried, it failed so badly that's making me laugh as a card gamer.
I understand, but I mean, look, here's the thing, okay? So many games come out and they're trash, and the people who make them just abandon them when they start failing, right? But not only
It's rare that some people are standing behind it. I'll confess that.
yeah, Valve said, "Look, we fucked up. We're gonna try and fix it." Which is head and sight's better than other companies that just pull the plug or say, "Hey, you spent your money on this shit. Well, too bad." You know.
Yeah, but I was gonna say that so far they are not putting it in the right direction so far, but I'll wait and see how this rolls.
I mean, you know, look, listen. They might be able to turn it around. They might not, but I'm just glad that they're trying. You know, I can't get mad at someone who's trying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just having a laugh at how they're screwing up at themselves, but I'm at least getting a show out of it.
All right, so
if anything, I'll have popcorn ready for what they do next.
well, I mean, like I said, it might get better, it might get worse. I don't know, but like, here's the thing: I'm rooting for Valve to succeed because, I don't know. I think overall Valve does an okay job. Not great, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not perfect, but they get the job done. You know what I mean? See?
Yeah, I get you.
You know, like they actually try to make shit better. Now they still need to make Half-Life 3. They still haven't made that. Half-Life 3 yet. But you know, maybe one day they'll do it. So with that being said, let's keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. Bethesda, or Bethesda, or Bugthesda, depending on who you ask. Bethesda has made a nice gesture of goodwill for the most cynical of reasons. Basically, they decided to donate $1 million to coronavirus relief. Multiple charities that are doing good things to help people who are directly and indirectly afflicted by coronavirus. So, that's good.
Pretty nice of them.
Yeah.
I hear a but, though.
Yeah, there is a but. I personally think the reason they're doing this is because it gives them good PR for how much they've been fucking up for the last year and a half with Fallout 76.
I was gonna say, it's kind of funny considering what their game is about, but also, yeah, that big butt is sticking out like they got stuck in a wall.
Yeah, yeah. Like
and I can only imagine what you're gonna do with it, Red.
Yeah, but Bethesda's butt is sticking out like that fat black lady who, like, just has like a normal size upper body, but then when she sits up, it's like just ass for days. Like the ass is so big that when she walks, it's like an earthquake is happening, but just on her ass. Like when she walks around, her ass jiggles so much that you're like, you could swear that that you should hear boom, like Godzilla stomps when she walks around. And before someone says something to me, how dare you? Look, I have an aunt well, she's dead now, but when I was a kid, she had an ass like that, and it was one of those asses that just like, I would never do it because I was a little kid, but like you could imagine someone just going up and slapping that ass and it just shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking. Like the type of ass where, old school black men say it must be jelly because jam don't shake like that type of ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my aunt had a big ass. And here's the thing, like I said, her upper body was normal size, but that ass though.
I'm sorry.
And here's the thing, like there's some men, especially black men, who they call them thick. They like women with those thick booties, as they call it. I personally don't. I don't personally like because they look deformed to me. But some men like that, so I'm not gonna knock your love of big ass women. Knock yourself out. But yeah, basically Bethesda's ass is like that. So their ass is hanging out, and they're trying to make it not be as obvious, but we all know that ass is there. We seen it jiggling. We know it's there, Bethesda. But good for you to giving $1 million to multiple charities in the Maryland, in the DMV, to help people with COVID-19 relief. You're doing it for the most cynical business reasons, plus it's a tax write-off. But
give him credit.
Yeah, I give credit to where credit's due.
So, if anything, it's hard to ignore what they're doing.
Yeah, because when you see an ass like that, I'm going to tell you guys a story at the end of the podcast about one time when I was taking mass transit in Washington, D.C. Because if you ever want to get a taste of a city, take mass transit. You will get a total taste of the city. But anyway, I'll tell you 2 stories from the X2. You're gonna laugh your asses off. So anyway,
you got it.
So anyway, we've got a list of Nintendo Switch exclusives for 2020 and beyond. Some of these games I'm interested in, the other ones I'm not. So we'll go with I'll announce the game and you guys say if you're interested or not and why, and then we'll keep it moving. So first game, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Yay, nay, and why?
Meh.
Yay, I don't know. I haven't really played the other. I haven't really played the one on the 3DS or the Wii, so.
All right.
Yeah.
I said meh because if anything, I may not be into Xenoblade Chronicles, even though people are saying that it's an RPG. I don't consider it. I'm being serious here.
All right.
But if anything, it looks pretty neat. So I have a feeling that it's going to be the same as if it was from the past.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say this right now. I already have this game 2 times over, and I don't want it. I don't want, even though it's an updated graphically with some new content. I'm not like I would rather the studio put their energy towards making a new game rather than, um,
A new Xenoblade.
yeah, into
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X2, and which at this point is probably not gonna hit the Switch. It's probably hit Nintendo's next console, which I'm cool with. Um, because I just remember how the Switch was struggling to run Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like shit, like struggling to load levels. I'm like, God damn, this is ridiculous. So, I don't want to necessarily want to play a game that would be struggling to run Xenoblade Chronicles X. That game was massive. So, and it was one continuous world. It wasn't like loading in zones like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So, yeah, I would rather them put their energy towards making a new game rather than re-releasing this. But they got to make money, so it is what it is. It's a pretty good game. The combat is a little MMO-esque, but it's not really. The combat to me, like even though if you're looking at someone play the game, you're thinking it's like an MMO, but really the combat is more like it's more like the successor to the active time battle system from Final Fantasy, where
That kind of bites me because I like the Final Fantasy the Final Fantasy battle system in a sense,
yeah.
and it doesn't feel. And Xenoblade Chronicles doesn't feel like it to me.
Well, I mean, I will admit I was one of those people who thought they could never get better than the active time battle system. But then I played Xenoblade Chronicles, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And that battle system is basically the successor to the active time battle system, because here's the thing.
It feels more like an MMO to me.
I mean, on the surface it does, but once you dig into the meta game of it, it really isn't. Because MMOs, you're still balancing resources, right? In MMOs, you're balancing resources. Like it's either mana or TP or something like that. The only resource you have to the resource you're balancing in the ATB, the resource you're balancing is MP and time.
Still doing it.
Yeah, and in Xenoblade Chronicles, the resource you're balancing is time. That's basically, you can use as many abilities as you want, but they have a cooldown period. Now there's things you can do to lower that cooldown period. So in that way you can like spam abilities. So like the meta,
you just MMO'd.
well, not really, because like
yes,
I said, an MMO is built upon having people there with you and all that shit. You're controlling the entire party. You don't need anyone else there to really do anything for you. The Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy 11 debacle, where basically you needed like 20 people to fight like a flan.
You're not selling it, buddy.
You don't really need to do that. Well, I mean, listen, it's a subjective thing, but to me, the combat system in the Xenoblade Chronicles series it's the logical step from the active time battle system of the past.
It's not. It's an MMO.
Well, I mean, we'll agree to disagree. So then you have Rune Factory 5, which is supposedly supposed to be coming this year, but I don't really.
Rune Factory, I'm iffy about, but it feels hopeful. I said feels hopeful.
I mean, I like the Rune Factory series, but I'm not like,
because it's like the farm life and battle and RPG kind of mixed into
Well, I mean,
one.
it's Harvest Moon with weapons. That's basically what it is. It's because the first Rune Factory was called a Fantasy Harvest Moon. That's all it is. I mean, if you like Harvest Moon, but if you played Harvest Moon, it's like, man, I like milking these cows, but I wish I could take a sword and go into a dungeon and kill some shit. Well, Rune Factory's for you.
Yeah.
That's basically all it is.
This is from somebody that's trying to get into Rune Factory.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's Rune Factory, except you can also go into a dungeon and kill shit. So, if you ever played Harvest Moon and you said to yourself, I'm enjoying making cheese and shit, but man, I wish I could go into a dungeon and kill some monsters. Well, Rune Factory is there for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested, but I don't really, I like Rune Factory. I have Rune Factory. I have all the Rune Factory games 1 through 4. I'm looking forward to 5, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm a bit hesitant to just dive into it. Let's keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. Bravely Default 2.
I'm honestly excited about it, though I'm cautiously excited because this is from, of all people, Square Enix.
Well, they're publishing it. The people making it are the same people who made the last Bravely Default games and Octopath Traveler. So, there's some
In short,
pedigree there.
there's yeah. In short, I actually
Gesundheit, sir.
at least I got some good confidence in that, and bless you.
Yeah, there's some good. I mean, like, here's the thing. If they said this was from Square Enix proper, I'd be like, shit. But considering it's from people who have released some quality old school style RPGs with their own twist on the ATB system, which is the brave and default and block and defend type of mechanic where you can like build up, you can stack turns in order to unleash really powerful attacks and shit.
The only thing that I'd be a little bit iffy of if they pulled that special timer payment system again.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that, and I hope that they don't do what they did in Octopath Traveler, which is once you beat that game, there's no post-game content. Like, once you do all the side quests for all the characters and get to the final dungeon and beat that dungeon, the game's over. There's no post-game. And I'm like, this game sold well enough, it should have had some post-game, but I guess they were working on Bravely Default 2.
It made me ask, where's the New Game Plus?
Yeah, no New Game Plus. No, I mean, there was like nothing new going on there. That kind of was like one of the few things where I was like, I'm not really feeling this. Hello, Sprite Wee Mix. How's it going, sir? welcome to the chat. So yeah,
how's it going?
Yeah, he's in the chat. So with that being said, next game, Deadly Premonition 2. Is that it? Deadly Premonition? Yeah, Deadly Premonition 2. A Blessing in Disguise.
This feels like a storybook game of sorts, but
it's one of those WTF games from the 6th gen.
Yeah, for me, I say get some popcorn. Watch it, but get some popcorn.
I mean, from what I heard, this game comes with the first game as well, so like, if you didn't play the first game, you get to play one of those WTF games of the 6th gen that you could not release now, by and large, or it probably would not sell well. So I'm going to get it just to support the developer, because, we don't get enough what the fuck games these days. And plus, I mean, they have the main character from the first game, but they also have a new character played by a black lady named Aaliyah Davis. And, I mean, I'm a sucker for any woman named Aaliyah, so.
If you're that much of a sucker, then I hope that you enjoy lollipops.
Man, do you know? I mean, well, whatever. I'm not gonna get into how hot Aaliyah was when she was alive, but it just kind of sucks that R. Kelly was hitting that bastard.
Save it for after the podcast, buddy.
That bastard. Anyway, the next game, No More Heroes 3.
No More Heroes 3.
No More Heroes 3, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, do we have to say anymore? It's No More Heroes. You're either in or you're out. There's no in between, okay?
I was about to say, who leaves you hanging for more?
Waiting for Streets of Rage 4. No More Heroes 3.
As I said, who leaves you hanging for more of that game?
No. I hope they bring back Shinobu. So Sprite Remix says waiting for Streets of Rage 4, and he says Blaze from Streets of Rage is much greater than Tifa. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. I would say Blaze is more realistically hot. Even though her posture, like if I saw a woman with that posture in real life, I would not think that she could fight because she would have really bad osteoporosis. But but she is really attractive in that Jessica Rabbit kind of way. So, you know. Even though, I mean, technically speaking, she's like 5 years younger than Adam, so she's like in her mid-30s at this point. She's still really hot for being in her mid-30s, though, so I'll give it to her. I'm totally going to get that game tomorrow for either Switch or Steam, so whatever. So let's keep it moving, Kanoshi, No More Heroes 3, yay or nay?
Yeah, I'll pick that up. I'll definitely pick that game up.
Yeah. So here's what Suda51 said. Here's what Suda51 said last year. He said, No More Heroes 3 will be an open world action game just like the original. Unlike the original, Suda said that the game will be huge. The biggest No More Heroes ever. Towards the end of last year, Suda also said in an interview that the game was around 40% complete. If development continues on the same track, we could reasonably expect to have it by the end of this year. Whether we'll still have the motion control beam katana, though, we just won't know yet. Come on, man. We gotta have the motion control beam katana.
I was about to say, please don't tease. Red Fox wants to jerk his joysticks.
And we need to be able to charge that motherfucker up, too. My beam katana's losing energy. No, wait, I can charge it up. Yes. It's back to full steam.
I was about to say, I thought you would go with now it's fully throbbing with power.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go that far. I didn't want to go that far because that's too much. Blaze can arrest you. Yeah, but Blaze isn't gonna arrest you. She's gonna punch you in the face, kick you in the crotch, grab your shoulders, flip around to the back, and kick you in your lower back, and hit you with a garbage can, maybe stab you with a knife. Like here's the thing. The characters from Streets of Rage and Final Fight are not people that I would really want to interact with because they probably kick my ass. If they saw you sitting on the side of the road, it's like, it's a black guy. He might start something. Let's kick his ass. It's like, why? I'm just sitting here eating a cheeseburger. Well, you're not eating no damn cheeseburger. It should be in that garbage can. I hope they utilize the HD Rumble in No More Heroes. Yeah, I hope so too. They might do that. So the next game on the list is Sports Story. It's from the Golf Story people. It's basically taking the place of the handheld Camelot Soft RPG-like sports titles.
I never got into that.
Well, I mean, I'm an RPG nut, so I loved them because they had the RPG aspect. Like, yeah, it's a golf game. Yes, it's a tennis game, but you're also getting experience, which you can use to level up your stats so that you can play better. I love shit like that. You're getting money that you can use spend to buy equipment to make yourself better at whatever. This game is going to have golf, but it's also going to have baseball, soccer, and tennis. And there's going to be dungeons and pink gorillas with golf clubs, so can't beat that shit. Yeah, they're going to have more shit. There's also Shin Megami Tensei 5 or Megaten 5, so there you go.
For any Persona lovers out there, please try to look at this game with an open view instead of it's not Persona.
Well, I mean, they share a certain link. Like, a lot of the monsters are shared between both games, but Persona is easy, even though Persona isn't really easy. Persona is easier than Megaten. Megaten is like drag you outside and kick you in the nuts hard. Whereas Persona is like drag you outside, tell you the rules, put you in a ring, and then you have a fight with a guy who boxed in the past for like 10 years. I mean, you might have a chance in Persona, whereas Megaten's like, we don't care about chances. Screw you.
Reason why I said, don't put hate on Shin Megami Tensei just because of it's not Persona, but be ready for injuries if you're thinking that way.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the Megaten games are hard. I hope this one isn't. I hope they expand the scope because the Megaten games always seem kind of basic, with a really deep, mature storyline. But they need to do something different. Like maybe take some cues from Shin Megami Tensei. Persona Emblem, maybe.
That's weird.
And of course, Bayonetta 3.
And I can hear all the sodium spilling from those words.
Well, if any sodium is spilling, I tell these people to go talk to Hideki Kamiya on Twitter. Oh, he blocked your ass. Never mind. Because he will block your ass. Next, we have Metroid Prime 4. I'm excited about this game, but I don't want it on the Switch.
I'm being patient and waiting to see how it turns out.
No, I want it. I want it to come out. I just don't want it on the Switch.
I know. I mean, as in, I want to see more of the game. I mean, I want to see gameplay before I make a judgment.
I mean, it's a Metroid Prime game. I mean, you pretty much know what you're gonna get in Metroid Prime game.
Yeah, but remember, I'm the one that quit after Metroid Prime.
Oh, okay. You're one of those people. Okay, all right.
Yeah, if anything, I'm at least being cautious about it.
All right. Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. That's how I feel about the game.
I mean, like, here's the thing. If they still had Namco Bandai working on it, I would be very hesitant. But considering that they had to restart development under Retro, I'm not as worried because, even though a lot of people have left Retro, the core people who worked on that game are still at Retro, so like I know what I'm getting.
It's a good sign.
Because I am a fan of Metroid Prime 1, 2, 3. I think Corruption was a really good game. If they take everything they learned from the 3 previous Metroid Prime games and apply it to Metroid Prime 4, we're going to get a really good game. I just don't want it on the Switch because I don't want them to compromise this game to get it to run on a hybrid console. Because they compromise Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to get it to run on the Switch. And that's why the game struggled to load areas and crashed a few times. Well, crashed twice on me. And I don't want to play a Metroid Prime game that's been compromised to get it to run on hardware. I don't want to do that. So, that's just me. I know some people are going to get mad when they hear that. How dare you? But, I mean, look, I'm a Metroid Prime fan. I'm not one of those people who played one Metroid Prime game and that's the only one I played, and somehow I'm an expert in this series. I played Metroid Prime 1, beat it. Metroid Prime 2, beat it. Metroid Prime 3, beat it. Metroid Prime Hunters, Federation Force, Pinball. I played every game in this series and beat every game in this series. So I think I have a little bit of experience in the Metroid Prime series. And I can tell you right now, I do not want them compromising this game to get it to run on the Switch. I would rather them just hold it off for the next console. Make it a launch game for the next console. That'd be better.
Yeah, this is the reason why I'm saying I'm waiting for gameplay to make a judgment for that one.
Well, I mean, like I said, it depends on what you like. Like me, like I said, I like the Metroid Prime series. I like getting lost in that world. I like scanning things and finding out about different items and creatures in the world. I like going to an area and being like, "Huh, what's that? Oh, I can't go there yet."
Lore lover.
When I come back over there, I'm gonna get that shit. I like that shit. I like that. It hooks me every time. But that's just me. It's my own personal opinion. Let's keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. All right. And the last game here is Legend of Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild 2. Sorry, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2.
I'm hyped, but also cautious because I'm not a 3D Legend of Zelda fan, but I can understand where this is going.
Well, here's what they've heard. The game is apparently inspired in part by Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't like that game, so I'm not exactly all a quiver.
Is that what they said?
That's the unofficial. That's the buzz underneath. Let me check. Yeah, apparently developers at Nintendo who played Red Dead Redemption 2 were inspired by that game for what they wanted to like. Initially, they for DLC for Breath of the Wild, but they were like, "No, we could make this into a game." So,
Well, I mean, it depends how they approach. Depends how they approach it.
here's the thing: if this game is the boring slog fest that was Breath of the Wild with no dungeons, no unique items in said dungeons, utterly forgettable fucking shrines except for a handful. Uh, I'm not. I'm really not interested. And I never thought I'd say that about a Legend of Zelda game, but you know,
Mhm.
but that's just me. Um, I know some people will disagree because people always disagree. So, but that's just me. Okay. Now that I've said that, let's keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. All right, all right, all right. I don't know why I just turned into Matthew McConaughey. Next little bit of news: Elder Scrolls 6 leak. I think we'll save that for Saturday because that's going to be a lot of stuff, and we're kind of cut on time. We spent a lot of time talking about Naughty Dog. Cyberpunk 2077's gets an 18 plus rating in Brazil, which is basically in Brazil it's the equivalent to adults only, because apparently there's. Well, let's look at what they're being given over there in. So here's the rating in. Here's the rating it was given in why it got the 18 plus rating in Brazil. So there's weapons without violence. There's moderate or hinted use of illicit drugs. There's weapons with violence. There's criminal action without violence. There's just description of consumption of illegal drugs, of illicit drugs. There's derogatory language, verbal aggression, violent acts, sexual pleasurement, consumption of illicit drugs, violence, descriptions of violence, exposure to danger, exposure to dead corpses, bodily injury, foul language, sexual language, blood, description of illicit consumption of illicit drug consumption or trafficking, sexualization, description of illicit drug consumption and trafficking, sexualization, sexual exploitation, intentional death, nudity, and prostitution.
Sounds like my kind of game.
I mean, hell, man, if you're
No.
talking about a game that's cyberpunk, how the hell are you gonna have a cyberpunk future with people getting high and doing body modifications and shit without cyborg hookers and junk? That doesn't make sense. What? People got to get high off of the internet. Come on, man. What type of cyberpunk world is this where people aren't taking drugs and doing weird shit? Come on, man. Jesus.
So they essentially got an AO
in Brazil. It's probably going to be M rated everywhere else. I mean, like, here's the thing.
Maybe they're harder in there.
I mean, let me put it this way. I like the fact, when I was a kid, I would say it's not good for kids to play M-rated games. But here's the thing. That was years ago, and I'm an adult. And sometimes as an adult, you want to play games that are for fucking adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you're a kid shouldn't be watching a rated R film. But as an adult, like, that rating was made for you. There's some stories that cannot be told for an adult that aren't rated R. That aren't rated R. Like, The Godfather. You can't enjoy The Godfather if it's not rated R.
There's some things that are age appropriate that needs the correct age, right?
Yeah. I mean, like PG-13, and let me let you in a little secret. I know some people say, well, you're of the age group where PG-13 was created. Yeah, but some of the first movies that got PG-13 ratings were damn near rated R. Like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where Mole Rama uh, rips that dude's heart out, and then they sacrifice him in the pit of fire. That's, that's damn near rated R, man. Gremlins, where the Gremlins attack this lady's lift chair and launch her ass out the lift chair and kill her ass.
Ow.
That's some rated R shit right there, man. But whatever. So yeah, I'm happy with the adult rating, with the harder rating, because with a game called Cyberpunk, if you've ever played Shadowrun or the Cyberpunk modules for tabletop games, this is not a happy go. Really, if you play D&D, there's some modules in D&D where it's like, this is some truly hardcore fucked up shit, and this is not for kids. Like, if you're a 14-year-old, you shouldn't be playing this game. Go play Call of Duty. Go play your T for Teen to Call of Duty. Let's see what else. Destroy All Humans. The remake is hitting PC July 28th.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
Destroy
good.
All Humans. Yeah.
Going out sooner than I expected.
It's sounding like humans, be prepared for an invasion, and be sure to wear some titanium pants.
Now here's the downside. It is only hitting the PC, the PS4, and the Xbox One. If you are a Switch only owner, well,
I know.
no cryptosporidium for you. That's right. You won't get to enjoy the sultry tones of Pox.
I already expected it, so excuse me.
But if you're like me and you're a misanthrope, which means you don't like people all that much, guess what? You get to destroy all humans in 2 months. Is it 2 months or is it 3 months? No, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months. So, isn't that cool? So, you get to see Cryptosporidium kill the shit out of people, which is awesome. So there you go. Hopefully they'll bring back the anal probe, where you could launch an anal probe up someone's butt, and then it would make their head explode the brain explode out of their head. I don't know how that would work biologically, but it was a fun weapon to use and destroy all humans. What can I say? I'm a misanthrope. I don't like people. Next, a study suggests that English gamers are the best at Mario Kart.
Trying to
Best at what?
I heard that right.
English gamers are the best at Mario Kart.
That doesn't feel right. Seriously,
it does. It makes sense, because in America we drive a lot, and so we're used to driving. It's just, that muscle memory is there. Yeah.
I said it doesn't feel like it to me because I've been road rashed by a number of people that are from across the ocean.
They could be the best of the best, but statistically, we're the best. Next, English gamers are the best at Mario Kart, Rock Band, and Tekken, but Scottish gamers are the best at Crash Bandicoot. Irish gamers are the best at Super Mario, but those from Northern Ireland are the best at Sonic games. The best gamers in Pokemon was the Netherlands. And the Netherlands are also apparently the best at Donkey Kong. They're also the best at Goat Simulator, which is weird. Japanese gamers. Now, here are the games that Japanese gamers are the best at: Final Fantasy and Animal Crossing.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah, American gamers are the best at Pac Man and also other sports games. And Canadian gamers, well, they get Echo the Dolphin and GoldenEye 007. So, and the top 20 best gamers, number 1 is Finland, number 20 is Belgium, America's number 6. So, unlike what some people may tell you, America isn't number 1 at shit. There you go.
I was gonna say, we're not the bottom of the barrel, but it seems like in some game competitions, as in certain games, we might be dead last.
Yeah, we're not number 1. Next, Mushroom Heroes is coming out. It's an SNES style platformer heading to the Switch this week, and it's basically Myconid Lost Vikings. So you have one hero with a shield. You have another hero who can jump and glide. You got another hero with a bow and arrow. It's Lost Vikings, except they're mushrooms.
I was gonna make the joke that Mario probably needs to keep away from those shrooms.
Yeah, they might kill his ass. Like, he's like, I'm gonna eat you guys and get super big. They're like, I think not, you fat bastard. Actually, I don't know if Mario and Luigi are bastards. They could be, though. Who knows?
I was gonna say, considering that their game is usually them tripping on shrooms and stomping on turtles.
Yeah, they're kind of fucked up. They're kind of assholes.
I was gonna say that they probably don't need these kind of shrooms. They'll be tripping on some of the worst than what those normal mushrooms they're tripping on is.
That's true. So we have a couple of sad things. Gene Dynarski, who played Stalin in Command and Conquer Red Alert, he was 86 years old, and he died this week.
That's sad.
Yeah, he was 86 though. Like once you're over 80, you like you had a good.
The Grim Reaper's on your case.
I mean, once you live over 80, so basically, the guy had a huge filmography. He was in Batman 1966. Of course, they know him in Command and Conquer, but he was in other shit too. So you can probably link yourself to his filmography and see what he was in. But the guy apparently had a really big career. The other death we had, yeah, I know, talking about people dying. Oleg Vodnik, actor Dmitry Dyachenko, who played Oleg Vodnik in Red Alert 3, another Command and Conquer game. Basically, he died. He was 52. Now, he played roles in Chernobyl Diaries, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Sons of Anarchy, Bones, Alias, and voiced characters in 24 games, including multiple Call of Duties, Tomb Raider, Metro, Last Light, XCOM 2, The Last of Us, Fallout 4, and Company of Heroes. And he died.
That's quite an accomplishment list.
Well, that's not only it. He's also he was born in San Francisco to Ukrainian immigrants. He was also an accomplished classic guitarist and former national Taekwondo heavyweight champion. And he died from complications to an electrical shock he received April 13th.
Wait, an electrical shock?
Yeah. I mean, shit happens.
I can only imagine what happened.
I don't know, but that dude sounded pretty badass to me. It's a shame he died. Keeping it moving. All right. I think I pasted this up twice. Oh no, here are more games coming out in 2020. Shantae and the Seven Sirens. Well, it's already out on Apple Arcade, but who gives a shit about that? Who gives a shit about Apple Arcade? It's coming out May 28th.
What was that? I was trying to hear.
Shantae and the Seven Sirens comes out May 28th. So next month.
You know people are going to be thirsty for her.
Well, I mean, I have to admit, I am kind of a fan of those monster girls in Shantae, so I'm looking forward to the transformations, the Metroidvania feel.
And
hopefully this.
Said, you're thirsty for her.
Not really, not particularly. I like the game. I like the gameplay design of the Shantae series. Hopefully, this one will be better than the last one.
I was making the joke that you're thirsty for her because of the. I didn't say of how you're thirsty for her.
Not really. I mean, I think the character designs are interesting, and I like the gameplay of most of the games, except for the last one. The last one felt kind of tacked together.
Pirate's Curse?
No. Half Genie Hero.
Half Genie Hero? Oh, the remix, right?
It wasn't really a remix. It was just like it was the game that they kickstarted, and you could tell they kind of ran out of funds halfway through, so they just took what they had and pasted it all together into one game. I mean, hopefully this one's better. I'm just saying, okay? XCOM 2 Collection. So if you're into XCOM, comes out May 29th, 2020. So next month, yet again. The Outer Worlds is coming in June. So there you go, folks. Burnout Paradise Remastered. Yeah.
If you like injuring yourself to make more money, this game is for you.
Well, I mean, they priced it initially at like $60, and then they took that price down. So hopefully it'll be like $39.99 or something like that. I'm still not getting it because I already have it on PC. So.
Yeah, but if anything, I was at least saying that if you want that game and you like being injured for a higher price, the game is for you.
So Doom Eternal coming out later on this year on PC. I mean on the Switch. I don't like the 2016 Doom game. So I'm not exactly all a quiver for Doom Eternal. And even if I was a quiver for Doom Eternal, I wouldn't get it on the Switch. So
I was about to say, it's funny that there's memes about those two games together, and
well, because of Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I was saying it's a meme of the game coming to the Switch because of Animal Crossing. I just feel it's kind of funny that it's not going to be as perfected.
I mean, the only thing is like for me, the new Doom feels too much like it's basically an M-rated Metroid Prime without the charm of a Metroid Prime. So
yeah,
I mean, I can already get that from something like Shadow Warrior. Like, I don't need Doom, and plus the music is trash. So I'm like here, my rule of thumb for a Doom game, for a Doom style game like Duke Nukem or Doom 1, Doom 2 is, can I play the E1 episode 1 mission 1 theme over it, and does it fit? And if I can't do that in a first person shooter, like a corridor type first person shooter, then that's not a good Doom style game. And Doom 1 and Doom 2 both fail at that. So I'm not into it. Cuz I like playing that music while I'm playing those types of games. Selfish, yes, but that's just how I feel. Next we have Axiom Verge 2.
it looks like the new Doom has a lot of unnecessary.
Could you repeat what you said?
I said it looks like the new Doom Eternal has a lot of unnecessary platform.
Well, they added a lot of platforming because they wanted to make the gameplay faster, but I'm like, I mean, Doom was never all that fast of a platformer. Like it was more
Yeah.
like the whole point was to memorize the level so that you get the best weapons, so then you could kill shit quickly. But that wasn't the whole point. It was like, okay, let me get this, let me kill these dudes, let me do this, let me go in here so these demons will start infighting so that they'll kill each other. Let me shoot this explosion barrel that'll set off a chain reaction, kill everything in this room. Oh shit, the BFG, boom, die, bitch. Like it was like finding secrets so that you could kill shit quickly. In the first Doom. The second Doom, it was finding the weapons so that you could get the most efficient weapons to defeat enemies in the most efficient way. And they kind of kept that with the new Doom.
And try not to burn all your ammo out too.
Yeah, they kind of kept that with the new Doom, but it's just not. I'm sorry, the new Doom games just aren't really
as interactive.
They don't feel like Doom. They feel like Metroid Prime.
Generic third-person shooter.
No, they feel like someone took Metroid Prime and then put a Doom coat of paint on it, but made it faster.
Well, thing is, somebody told me they didn't like Doom, the new Doom, because they felt like seemed like the guns felt like paper, and I didn't know what they meant until I understood what they meant. Like the guns don't have
weight,
a lot of weight to them, because they feel so light. They kind of feel more like toys than guns.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something that the new Dooms have going on. With the new weapons don't really have... Like, okay, if you play Doom 2, and you get the super shotgun, that shit is still, even now, and we're talking about a game with the build engine back in the day, that gun still feels really like you shoot an enemy. Like, you can use the super shotgun for like 2 levels, just mowing motherfuckers down, and it feels good to shoot that motherfucker. You don't feel any of that in the new Doom. It's like you get a new weapon, you're like, okay, even if you upgrade it, like once you upgrade them and get all the weapon upgrades and get them to a point where it's like useful in a firefight, it's like, yeah, it's kind of good, but they just don't have that. But you know, it is what it is. That's my own personal opinion. But yeah, let's keep going. So Axiom Verge 2. It's a Metroidvania game, so yeah. Super Meat Boy Forever. It's a runner game, but it's Super Meat Boy. So there you go. Cook Serve Delicious. It's a multiplayer game where you cook shit.
It reminds. Hopefully, it's a lot more interactive or a lot more interesting than Battle Chef Brigade.
Yeah, but that game looks like trash.
Ooh.
Yeah, Battle Chef Brigade. No, sorry. I'm thinking of another game. Sorry.
Okay, you had me a little worried.
No, Battle Chef Brigade is the game that that's kind of like when you're in the platforming sections, it's like a beat 'em up. You beat the monsters up in order to get ingredients and pick up shit, and then you take it to the thing, and then it turns into like Tetris when you're cooking the dishes. Yeah, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking about that game that's kind of like Cook Serve Delicious, but it's called something else.
Hopefully, it's not Burger Time.
No, it's not. It's something else. It's like it has the overhead projective where you have to pick up things, but it's got chibi characters and you're moving ingredients around and taking them places. It's weird. I forget the name of it. Gods and Monsters, which is some Ubisoft game. So I don't know. Ubisoft is very like hit or miss with me with their games. And of course, Hollow Knight Silk Song. So it's another Metroidvania, but Hollow Knight was a really good Metroidvania. So hopefully the next one will be good. And this time you get to play as Silk, the female character who, like,
seems like
she looks really cool.
Seems like it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, she looks like a really cool character, so I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, keeping it moving. Another Ubisoft thing. Ubisoft has revealed the next Assassin's Creed setting in a live stream. It's
Yum.
the north. It's the Netherlands, the Norseland area. So like
Why is
Iceland.
this mostly?
Mm.
Why is it mostly focused in Europe, not any Asian countries?
I don't know. I guess because they don't want to do the one setting that people want. Like, here's the thing. I'm not a big Assassin's Creed fan, but I think it would be cool to do one where you have the Brotherhood versus ninjas, or do a modern day Assassin's Creed, where like
Yeah, hell,
maybe
why not? They already have borderline magic in the game.
yeah they do. So I mean but Ubisoft is never going to do what people want. So
Well, whatever.
yeah they're never going to do what people want. And finally Ninjala.
The beta test is over, by the way.
Yeah, I saw some people doing it. It looks like a shittier version of Splatoon. It looks like a except you don't have the traversal abilities that Splatoon has with the paint, so like you're just kind of plodding around. So your movement is like, I mean, this game needs to go back into the oven. I know there's a beta, but they need to get some way for you to move around that arena quickly. Um, but that's just me. What do you think, Joel? Since you played the beta, I guess. Jewel. Jewel. All right. Guess we can keep it moving.
Is that game out or is it coming out?
Well, the beta was yesterday for Ninjala, and to me, Ninjala is basically it looks like a Splatoon clone. And from what I've seen of the beta, like it's like the brilliance of Splatoon is that not only is like taking out enemies not really the key point, but is how you can traverse the map by swimming in the ink, in the paint. This game has an art style that's very reminiscent of Splatoon, but it doesn't have that traversal aspect, so it kind of feels like this should be faster. Like I should be able to move faster, but you can't. Like you're just kind of walking around or using your ninja your ninja hiding technique to look like a box, and it's like they're gonna see this box fucking moving around, dude. And there's also like NPC enemies that try and attack you, so that I get whatever. I'm not really that interested in it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all need to. Maybe they can make it better because I know this is just the beta, so maybe it'll get better. But I'm not holding my breath for it. Next we have Ion Fury. Jewel, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I just had to check something because a phone call came in.
That's okay. Yeah, I just said that seeing the beta, I wasn't really impressed.
The beta isn't that bad, but I see there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, like basically, how you traverse the map needs to be. They need to have some method for you to move quickly around the map.
Yeah,
Like basically, playing Ninjala basically shows you how brilliant Splatoon is with how quickly you can move around the map through the paint. And go places and like get to places where you can attack enemies. In Ninjala, you literally have to be up on somebody in order to start taking them out.
Up, beat down.
Yeah, it's like, damn, this is slow. This is slow in plotting. It needs to be faster. Next we have Ion Fury. It's a build engine game. It's finally coming to the Switch. It came to everything else. Now it's coming to the Switch. If you're a fan of like Duke Nukem or Doom or Shadow Warrior or Blood on PC, well, this game's made using the engine of those old ass games, but updated for a modern age. And from what I heard from people who are really into first person shooters, it is awesome. I might get it on PC because.
Oh crap! What game is this?
Ion Fury. It's from 3D Realms. It's
what's it about?
Basically, it's set in the future. In Washington D.C., where this police officer named Michelle Fury, Like basically, she discovers that like she just got off of work and she just wants to go and have a drink at her favorite bar, but the city's on lockdown because this evil madman is trying to take over the city, and it's Washington D.C., so that's a big deal. And so basically, she goes on a rampage, taking out all these creatures and villains and stuff to take out the villain. It's actually pretty good from what I heard. So, I've seen people play this game online, and it looks pretty good. I mean, if I'm going to get the game, I'm probably going to get it on PC so I can have mouse and keyboard versus on the Switch. Plus, you could probably Ion Fury. You can probably mod it.
Ion Fury, okay.
You can probably mod it on PC. Which to me, I mean, why the hell would I get a game like that and not be able to mod it? Whatever. Next, we have the worst ever from Re-Res, the Gamecom. I don't know. I just put that up there for no reason. Lastly,
like
we have 2 anniversaries to celebrate. The Neo Geo is 30 years old. Well, it was 30 years old yesterday.
I was gonna say that's some good legacy, even though some consoles and games are high enough price to bite your wallet in the balls.
Well, adjusting for inflation, the Neo Geo arcade, the Neo Geo home game thing cost about $1,200 for just the console, and the cartridges themselves cost about $600 a piece, adjusted for inflation, back in the day. So yeah, they were really expensive.
As I said, they'll bite your wallet in the balls.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bite to the balls. That's crushing your wallet. That's crushing your balls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, before someone asks, well, how do you have a Neo Geo? I have a Neo Geo because I managed to get one from Japan for significantly cheaper, and I had to have it refurbished. But if you can't do that, man, it's
that's a bite.
Yeah.
Or that's a wallet ball crusher.
Yes, it is. It's very painful. But the Neo Geo apparently was a good game, so I mean, was a good system. So there were some good games for the system, like shit, Samurai Showdown.
The King of Fighters series.
King of Fighters series. Well, before it was King of Fighters, it was World Heroes. I mean, I like all those games. So, the only downside about the Neo Geo was that it was kind of shitty. Is that like if you didn't like shooters or side-scrolling beat 'em ups, or 2-on-2 fighters, then you weren't gonna, because that's all they really had for the system. So, if you weren't into that, then,
yeah,
that's how it was. And finally, the Game & Watch. Game Watch.
The first portable gaming system.
Well,
the prototype to the Nintendo DS.
Kinda. It's not the first portable gaming system, because you had like portable football and soccer and shit like that from Milton Bradley before the Game & Watch in the 60s and 70s.
I was about to say, how did those things play?
Like shit, but they were before the Game & Watch, so I can't say the Game & Watch is the first. But the Game & Watch was the first one that really kind of had a premium feel to it. Like they were like $20, $30 back in the day. Just for inflation, like $40, $50 now. And they were designed by Gunpei Yokoi, and they were the first Nintendo gaming device that had the classic Nintendo gaming D-pad. A D-pad that no one has been able to No one has a D-pad better than the Nintendo D-pad from back in the day. No one. Not even Nintendo, because I have a Pro Controller, and that D-pad is not great. It's not terrible, but it's not as good as it is the classic
As it could
D-pad
be.
from back in the day. No, it's not. But yeah. Yeah, there you go, folks. But think about
agree
it.
with you on that.
Game & Watch was the start of, because think about it, without the Game & Watch, Nintendo wouldn't have been able to make the relationships that enabled them to distribute the original Famicom and NES. And without that, they couldn't have gotten out the Game Boy, which the Game Boy kicked everyone's ass for many years. And then without the Game Boy, no Game Boy Color, no Game Boy Advance.
I was about to say, the handheld the handheld universe would be pretty one-sided.
Well, people would have tried. I mean, they all tried. I mean, Sega tried. Gamecom tried. Tiger with Gamecom tried.
Oh, I would save that
well,
one.
They didn't even try.
Saturday.
They just threw some shit out there and said, "Hey, look at us, Tiger!"
As I said, if you're thinking of talking about Gamescom, save it for Saturday, please.
Yeah, that's another cast entirely. So basically, that's all the cast. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
What? Nothing much really, but I'm actually curious of what you got coming up.
I might do a let's play of a short little game called Random Heroes. It's also on the Switch, but I got it on PC because it was like 95 cents. No, it was like 59 cents on Steam. And when something's that cheap,
you want to grab it.
Well, I mean, 59 cents, I can't beat that. And on the Switch, they're selling it for like $4.99, which doesn't seem like a lot of money until you realize on PC it's 49 cents. I mean, come on.
I was about to say, $5 is pretty cheap for some gamers.
$5 is cheap. 50 cents is cheaper.
Yes, that's the thing.
It's like I can't. No. I like the Switch, but I can't. Can you match 50 cents? No. Well, then you won't be getting this sale on that system.
That I cannot hide.
So I did not get it for the Switch, even though it was like $4.99, because I'm a cheap bastard. But with that being said, hey man, look. If you look at people who have money. If you look at people who have money, they are cheap. I mean, I'm not like screw people out of their money cheap, but like if I can find a better deal.
As long as you're not one of those stock buyback cheap rear ends, then I'll take you for it.
If I can find a better deal, I'll take it. That's why I don't try and jump on shit immediately if I can. But anyway, that's the end of the podcast. Anything you want to pimp out, Kenoshi?
No.
All right.
So don't forget to talk to us on email, on Twitter, and even Discord.
That's right. Email, Twitter, Discord. We also have, you can reach me at Mr. Red Fox, bsbusters@gmail.com. That's all lowercase. Or at Twitter at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. That's the podcast. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. Wash your hands, practice social distancing, use a mask, use gloves, wash your hands, don't breathe in people's faces, all that jazz.
And don't forget to hype responsibly.
Yeah, that's right.
And also remember that life's a work.